Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice Radio. So today, we're going to be talking about the best decks that are coming around because of the new Pokemon trading card game expansion, Unified Minds. Now, to be clear, the rotation is hitting as Unified Minds comes out, so we are only looking post-rotation here, and we're only looking at new decks. So take Raichu and Alolan Raichu, for instance. Very good card, but it's not going to be a new deck. It may well end up splitting time with Pikachu and Zekrom, but it's still going to be played exactly like Pikachu and Zekrom. It just so happens that it's going to be another attacker therein. So I'm not counting that as a new deck, and I'm not counting it. There we go. So starting off then, a couple of cards which haven't made, I've made a top 5, that haven't made my top 5 list, but I do want to give them a quick shout out anyway. Slowpoke and Psyduck Tag Team GX with Lapras and Misty. You see, Slowpoke and Psyduck is a great new card. I'm not sure if it's the strongest one ever, but I do like it very much indeed. And for 2 water energy, it allows you to discard as many supporter cards as you like from your hand and do 40 damage for each one that you discarded. And that can add up very, very quickly. Especially as you've got Misty's Favour, which allows you to search your deck for free supporter cards and put them into your hand. And you've got Lapras from Unified Minds, which allows you once during your turn to grab a Misty's out of your discard pile and put it into your hand. Yeah, that's all going to add up quite quickly. I am personally a huge fan of Garchomp. Now, I understand not everybody is. You've got to be behind on prizes to use something like Miss Magius. But if you're behind on prizes, your attacks do 80 more damage. And then you do 120 for 2 energy if you discard an energy. But then if you're behind on prizes, Martial Arts Dojo will do an extra 40 damage. Diancie Prism Star will do an extra 20 damage anyway. You've got Karate Belt, which if you're behind on prizes will reduce your attack cost by 1 fighting energy. And now all of a sudden, if you're behind on prizes, you're doing 260 for a single energy. It's going to be hard to set up post-rotation when we're losing all of our best Pokemon search options like Ultra Ball. It's not, I think, going to be the most consistent, but I do think that it is going to be absolutely beautiful if and when it sets up. And finally, Mewtwo and Mew Tag Team GX. Now, I'm in a couple of minds about this one. This really could end up just being a tech. It is great as a one-of in Malamar decks, for instance, and it's great as a one-of in Reshiram and Charizard decks, and it's great as a one-of in Pikachu and Zekrom decks, etc. And the reason is it can use any attack of any GX you've got either in play or in your discard pile. Don't know if it really makes a deck in and of itself. I think people will make it as a deck where it's basically like a bit of a box deck where you play a whole bunch of different cards, and certainly in Expanded where you've got Battle Compressor to discard GXs so you can then copy them, and you've got stuff like Dimension Valley to reduce your attack cost by 1, so you're actually copying attacks for cheaper. I think it's way better, but keep an eye out for this. So in at number 5, a deck which I think has a huge amount of potential, though has not quite proven itself. Remember, all these cards have been legal in Japan for a while, so if they've been good, we've seen deck lists. I'll link them in the description. Beheeyem Lock. Beheeyem is a really fun new card that for free energy does 90 damage. You shuffle Beheeyem and all cards attached to it into your deck, and your opponent cannot play items during their next turn. But we've got triple acceleration energy now, such that you can attach a triple acceleration energy, pay the attack cost in one go, but because Beheeyem gets shuffled into your deck, so does triple acceleration energy, and it doesn't get time to fall off. When we get Cosmic Eclipse, we're going to get Lily's Pokédoll, which is pretty much just a reprint of base Clefairy Doll, or indeed Robo-Sub, which is going to make this even better. But the fact that it can be a hit and run deck, and it works so well with triple acceleration energy, and that it item locks your opponent, I expect this deck to be seen. Remember, we're not looking at the best cards from Unified Minds. I've done that list, I'll link it in the description. These are the best decks, and I see Beheeyem being a good deck in its own right. In at number 4, a deck which has seen quite a bit of play and a little bit of success over in Japan, Breloom Mareep. You see, the new Breloom is one of these really cool cards. It is, well, it's a bit of a weird one, right? It is a fighting Pokemon, but it attacks for grass energy. And that's wonderful because it means you can make a grass deck and still have somebody hitting fighting weakness against stuff like Pikachu and Zekrom. What it does for a single grass energy is it does 120 damage on the proviso that your opponent is asleep. Okay. That's where Mareep comes in. Because you see, Mareep, if it's in the active, you get to put your opponent's active Pokemon to sleep. Then, of course, we've got Slumbering Forest in this set as well, whereby your opponent has to flip 2 coins and both of them has to be heads to wake up. And now we are rolling. One of the coolest things about this is not only that you're hitting 120 for a single energy, but a lot of the time, your opponent is actually going to be asleep, so they're not even going to be able to attack you back. 120 for a single energy is good. 120 for a single energy when your opponent can't attack you a lot of the time anyway. They've only got a 25% chance of waking up. That gets into really quite good territory. In at number 3, Ultra Beast Deck. And really, this is all built around the emergence of Naganadel. You see, the new Naganadel GX has a really nice ability that says once during your turn, you may discard an Ultra Beast from your hand and draw 3 cards. And helping both this ability and the deck in general, we've got Ultra Space. Ultra Space is a stadium that just lets you once during your turn search for an Ultra Beast and put it in your hand. Firstly, this helps you set up, and remember, I said one of the reasons Garchomp's not looking great is because we're losing cards like Ultra Ball and setting it up is going to be really difficult. Naganadel, firstly, can use Ultra Space to set up, and secondly, has an inbuilt draw engine. That's pretty ridiculously good. And then, of course, we've got the combo with the other Naganadel, whereby for just 1 energy, you do 120 damage if you've got a full bench of Ultra Beasts. And it used to be that getting a full bench of Ultra Beasts was really awkward because, well, you had no draw engine. But now you do have a draw engine. So you're fine. See where I'm going with this, ladies and gentlemen? It really is a great, great boon. Then, of course, you've got all the other Ultra Beasts. You've got your Buzzwole that does 120 for a single energy. You've got your Xurkitree that just came out in Unified Minds that does 120 for a single energy. You've got the really good Nihilego that can copy any attack for a single energy. Remember, all of those are at specific times. Buzzwole when your opponent's got 4 prizes remaining, Xurkitree when they've got 3 remaining, Nihilego when they've got 2 remaining. But then again, you've got Search that other decks don't have in Ultra Space. And that's before we build in stuff like Beast Ring to accelerate energy, and Beast Energy to do an extra 30 damage. This has the potential to be a really top tier deck. In at number 2, a deck which, as far as I'm concerned, has pretty much already proven itself to be a top tier deck over in Japan. It is Mega Sableye and Tyranitar, Darkrai and Umbreon, and Weavile. It's built around 3 different Pokemon cards, all of which came out in Unified Minds. What happens is you got Umbreon and Darkrai that for free energy does 150 to your opponent's active and then 60 to one of their benched EX or GX. You use this to soften up a couple of Pokemon, and then you bring in Mega Sableye and Tyranitar that does 210 damage for 5 energy, but if you KO an EX or a GX, you take yourself an extra prize. And this will KO a bunch of GXs like Blacephalon and indeed Naganadel, but it won't get most of the tag team GXs, but that's where Umbreon and Darkrai come in. Because other than the odd one like Mega Sableye and Tyranitar, or indeed Magikarp and Wailord, they are the only two, every Pokemon has 270 HP or less. Which means after a single hit on the bench, you can then get a one-hit KO with Mega Sableye and Tyranitar. See where we're going, ladies and gentlemen? The only downside is you need a whole bunch of energy. Okay, we'll use Naganadel from Lost Thunder. Yeah, but you need to move the energy around your Pokemon. That's where Weavile comes in. As often as you like, during your turn, you may move a darkness energy from one of your Pokemon to another. And that is what makes this so good. Start with Darkrai and Umbreon. Move the energy to Mega Sableye and Tyranitar. Naganadel gets your energy in the first place. This has seen a lot of success and a bunch of wins in Japan. Expect it to be a great, great deck. But not as good as Malamar with Garchomp and Giratina. I see this as being potentially the best deck for Worlds and Beyond. And I know it's a Malamar deck, but it's a completely new Malamar deck. Sure, it's going to have a bunch of similarities to other Malamar decks. For instance, you're definitely still going to play the Giratina from Lost Thunder, which goes into every Malamar deck. But up to now, we've been focusing on stuff like Ultra Necrozma, or just playing a non-GX deck with Giratina, or playing Gengar and Mimikyu. And you might still play one or two of those cards, but now you are going to build the deck around Garchomp and Giratina. If you've got any damage on a Pokemon, you can do 240 for free energy. But Malamar accelerates the energy, and the Giratina from Lost Thunder gets the damage on. And the crucial thing here is that you're getting one-hit KOs on stuff like Pikachu and Zekrom. Because Pikachu and Zekrom only does 150 with its main attack. Reshiram and Charizard only does 230. You do 250. You're doing more damage than the others. Add to that the fact that Pikachu and Zekrom's got to look out for stuff like Buzzwole. Reshiram and Charizard has got to look out for stuff like Frostlass. There's no really great perfect counter to this. Sure, there'll be some people playing Gardevoir and Sylveon, but that is as its own deck, not just chucking it in as a tech into other decks. This has got a good weakness, good attacks, and it hits the numbers post-rotation in a way that other decks just don't. Yes, we've had Malamar decks for a while, but I expect this to become the best Malamar deck, and frankly, ladies and gentlemen, I expect it to become one of the, if not the, best deck for Worlds and Beyond. So there we go, they're my top 5 new decks from Unified Minds with a couple of honourable mentions. Now it's that time of the video where I'd like to know what you think. Are there any decks that you think come out of Unified Minds that are going to be great, by which I mean decks that really cannot be played pre-Unified Minds, that I've missed? Do you think I'm rating some too high, some too low? Let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassyPlays, where we talk about a whole bunch of games that don't even have any Pokemon in. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.